Hello, thank you for joining me to learn about the green corridors in your community. I'm Nicole Wooten, Director of Natural Resources for the Hudson Highlands Land Trust. I'm here to tell you about our recently completed Green Corridors plan for the Eastern Hudson Highlands. Green corridors are the lands that wildlife and people need in order to thrive and move across the landscape. The plan identifies natural area connections across Putnam County. Protecting these areas is important for wildlife, and they provide many economic, ecological, and social benefits for our human communities as well. Forests help clean our air and absorb carbon. Wetlands absorb floodwaters and help keep drinking water clean. And publicly accessible places meet local recreation needs, including hunting, fishing, and walking in nature. These areas are also part of a key $5.5 billion tourism industry in the Hudson Valley. The plan lists tools and resources to help you maximize these benefits locally. I'm going to give a brief introduction to the project and the work that we do at Hudson Highlands Land Trust. At the end of the presentation, you'll know a little bit more about the Land Trust, what green corridors are, what in the plan might be useful to your town, and how your town might take advantage of the opportunities presented in the plan. You can download the plan from the Hudson Highlands Land Trust website at www.hhlt.org. So what is the Hudson Highlands Land Trust? Hudson Highlands Land Trust is a nonprofit, community-supported organization headquartered in Garrison, New York. In the past 33 years, we've directly conserved thousands of acres and facilitated the conservation of thousands of more. As of this presentation, we hold 3 preserves that are open to the public in the towns of Phillipstown and Putnam Valley. Our staff are dedicated to work with landowners who want to protect land and work with towns to protect natural resources, whenever possible, connecting people with nature. This is the Highlands region in New York where we work. The Highlands east of the Hudson River covers all of Putnam County, a little bit of Dutchess and Westchester, and continues into Connecticut. The Highlands region is a federally recognized ecoregion of great importance, and our part of it has many significant natural area features, including large forested areas, rare plant and animal species, regionally important wildlife corridors, and regionally important recreation corridors. In 2021, the Open Space Institute completed a trail connectivity plan for the Highlands region west of the Hudson River that highlights opportunities to permanently protect and enhance the landscape, working towards the creation of a connected regional trail network that will provide recreational opportunities for residents and visitors, as well as protect critical wildlife habitat and safeguard local watersheds. This Green Corridors plan complements that effort on the east side of the New York Highlands. So the Green Corridors plan. Hudson Highlands Land Trust and our New York Highlands project partners created the Green Corridors plan to identify links between existing conserved lands in the Eastern Hudson Highlands. This project was funded in part by a grant from the New York State Environmental Protection Fund through the Hudson River Estuary Program of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. The plan's maps are being used by the Hudson Highlands Land Trust and conservation partners in the New York Highlands Network to inform land protection priorities. Municipalities have a vital role in this regional effort too. We are pleased to work with Phillipstown and Putnam Valley to incorporate local priorities in the plan, and we look forward to hearing how the towns of Kent, Carmel, Patterson, and Southeast might integrate it in their planning and decision-making as well. So why green corridors? Through the planning process, we identified forest, marsh, and meadow connections across Putnam County because wildlife are at risk right now. In 2019, a UN report said that globally, 1 million animal and plant species are now threatened with extinction, many within decades. Across North America, more than 3 billion birds have been lost since 1970. And bugs like butterflies, which are at the core of our ecosystems, are declining even faster than birds. Conservation is part of the solution, but we need to first identify what lands help the most. People also need to move. A connected, walkable community with green corridors in the form of linear parks can benefit both wildlife and people. Helping people move on the land can help us reach climate change mitigation goals and keep us healthy. To identify green corridors, we pulled together different pieces of information to create a plan for connecting our landscape. Those pieces included what we know about wildlife habitat needs, an analysis of the movements of some sensitive wildlife species, including salamanders, bald eagles, and eels, what we know about community priorities published in reports, and based on Land Trust's existing relationships, we worked with the towns of Phillipstown and Putnam Valley to include community priorities and input. These different data sources and analyses are shown in a series of maps in the plan, some of which your town can use in local planning and decision-making. The first map is a scientific analysis of the areas that were shown to be most important for wildlife movement. It includes new information on wildlife connections that was verified on the ground by scientists. The second map shows conservation priorities of organizations that work in this region. This map is helpful for towns to know where there might be opportunities to work with partners on land protection. As I mentioned earlier, we included input from the communities and experts that reside in, use, or know about the towns of Phillipstown and Putnam Valley. The final map combines the priorities for the other maps. For the towns of Carmel, Kent, Patterson, and Southeast, the wildlife connection map and conservation priority map will be most useful. So what is in the plan? In addition to the maps, the plan includes resources to help local decision makers, landowners, and local conservation organizations who want to include green corridors in their planning and decision making. The plan has a comprehensive list of tools that can be used to protect green corridors. I've already mentioned land protection, but other tools include land use plans and educational programs that raise awareness of wildlife connections, like pollinator pathways and the amphibian monitoring and road crossing volunteer program. Your towns are already using some of these tools. For example, every Putnam County town protects wetlands at the local level. The town of Kent is developing a natural resources inventory, and the town of Patterson has a critical environmental area designated for the Great Swamp. The plan has an extensive list of potential funding sources to implement the plan, including 33 state and federal funding opportunities and multiple private foundation opportunities. There are also resources for guidance and technical assistance for using the land use and education tools. The plan identifies green corridor connections in your towns. The scientific priorities map shown at the right will be the most useful map for the towns of Kent, Carmel, Patterson, and Southeast. The public and private conservation lands are shown along with the important connections for wildlife. The important connections for wildlife are in the orange-red color. The darker the orange color, the more significant the connection. This map can be used in comprehensive plan updates, natural resource inventories, and open space plans. So how might you use the Green Corridors Plan? The document includes new information about wildlife priorities, as well as dozens of resources that align with many local priorities. So I ask you to consider and explore how you might use the Green Corridors Plan. Thank you for listening. I encourage you to visit www.hhlt.org and download the plan to learn more about green corridors. Thank you again to the Hudson River Estuary Program for supporting our conservation work in the Hudson Highlands.